and a passionate talent development speaker on millennials development topics. Now, one of the things that I really love to share with you all today is three lessons that I've learned from running my own business and in being extremely focused in running that business. Now, for those of you who have been following me for years now, since the year, 2009, you would realize that I have actually put in a lot of time and effort really finding what I want to do. And that means really exploring different opportunities from different jobs, transporting myself to different careers. And that has actually helped me a lot in discovering what I really want to do in my life. And what was interesting was when I started in the year 2009, fresh out of university, I remember getting involved in the consulting world, where I was in brand consulting, and I knew that one of my passion, my purpose in life was to actually work with people. I love developing people, I love developing businesses, I love developing products and services. I then went on to meet a few great friends of mine who would then become my partners, and then we went into the event management business. So that was the time where we actually started organizing events, and the more prominent event that we organized together was called TEDx KL. So that is the famous TEDx Talk. It's still running today, and it's run by my former business partners right now, and I'll explain about that later. But it's a great event, and I highly encourage all of you to go. It's actually been known around the world as one of the better TEDx events organized here in Malaysia, and to me personally the best. Now, after I've gone through event management, starting my own business with my partners, I then went on to work with a public company where our role was to identify young people in society, in universities, that actually has the potential to produce great projects, to produce great business ideas, and then we would give them funding upon providing them with training. Now you could see how my life has actually revolved around developing people, bringing opportunities closer to people, and making sure that everyone benefits at the end of the day. And then that was in the year 2010 when I joined that public organization. And then that brought me on to 2011, where a twist of fate happened. I won a competition in the UK. To cut a long story short, the grand prize was a one-year, all-expense, paid-for trip to travel around the world to 22 countries and to work with people on developing their potentials to actually create socially viable projects that will bring positive impact not only to the bottom line, but also to their communities. And that was a time where I had the great opportunity to work with Fortune 500 sponsors, to NGOs, and also governments in the 22 countries that I've been to. Again, that purpose of mine was there, okay? It was all about developing people. And after the year 2011, when I came back to Malaysia, it was in the year 2012, I got involved in the management consulting line, while at the same time running my event management business with my other partners as well. Now, life was great until an incident happened to me. It was in the year 2013, and I recall that very clearly, where I nearly got involved in an accident. Now, not even my parents know about this, but I nearly got involved in an accident while driving in Kuala Lumpur, the capital city of Malaysia. And that very morning when I woke up, I reflected on my life, and I realized that, I have at least 5 businesses at that time. Money was great to me, and I have everything I ever wanted around the world. I've traveled around the world. I've met with global leaders. I've met with business leaders. I've learned from the best, but I felt empty inside. That was when I started asking mentors of mine, I started asking really successful entrepreneurs to actually understand what can I do, or what will they do if they were in my position. I mean, I love life. I have a great life. I speak to thousands of people every year. At the same time, I have great business partners who were keeping the event business running. But that day when I woke up, I just realized that I need to be focused. So what happened, I took that leap of faith when all the dust clears off. It was in the year 2014. I expressed my intention of wanting to liquidate from the businesses that I have stakes in. I have also declared that I wish to resign from the different positions that I was holding in advisory positions in a few companies. Now, during that time, life was pretty challenging, because I thought that here I am with all the context in the world and all the track records of having done businesses, developing people around the world. Unfortunately, at that time when I first cut ties with all my other businesses and decided to focus on only one thing, that was to focus on talent development, to focus on delivering seminars, workshops, working with companies to develop their human potential so that they can be more productive and profitable. And then things didn't turn out just like how I would want it to be, where I was faced with challenges. I have clients who would tell me that they're going to engage my services, and then that would be dragged on for the next 6 months. And I have a girlfriend at that time who's now my business partner, and she treated the business very professionally, where she even told me saying that, we may be couples, we may be boyfriend and girlfriend, but at the end of the day, I want to be paid a full-time salary. Gone are the days where the girlfriends or the boyfriends would come to you and say, for love, I could work for you for free. But not my girlfriend at that time, who's still my girlfriend today, so that's fantastic. And what happened was I had to treat my little new business as a real business. So we were operating from our 3-bedrooms apartment. It was just us operating from the living room, and we were just trying to grow the business. We were trying to make inroads into already a very saturated market, a red ocean, if you would say, the training industry. And I remember during that time, it was very difficult, it was challenging, and I was considered quite young in the industry. And one of the things that I knew was that I went back to my mentors and I asked them, what would their advice be for me? Especially right now when I am this celebrity entrepreneur to some people, where I've traveled around the world. I've had the great opportunity to work with big companies. I was a management consultant before. I've had great education experience, obtaining my degree from New Zealand and then furthering my studies in educational programs provided by Harvard University, Stanford University, and India. I mean, who could beat me, right? But that was when I realized that, life would give you a challenge in order to make you stronger. So I went back to my mentors and they advised me to be extremely focused. And today I wanted to share with you the 3 lessons that I've learned in doing business by being extremely laser focused. In a sense, don't let anything distract you. Just be extremely focused in what you do. Now, the first thing that I've actually learned was to build your brand as an expert. That's the first point that I want to share with you, the first lesson. My mentor has always shared with me that if you want to be truly specialized in a business, you need to then start positioning yourself as an expert. Now, obviously, I understand some of you may be thinking, but Michael, who are we to call ourselves as an expert, right? An expert title is supposed to be given by people. Well, guess what? Here's what I've learned. When you position yourself as an expert, that is when you create a whole new benchmark. That is when you have put yourself in the frame of mind that you are going to deliver the superior services, or you will create the best products for your customers. So what happened is that forced you to understand and learn what are the best people in the industry doing. And during that time, I invested time, efforts, and also money to learn from the best speakers around the world. We talk about people like Tony Robbins, the #1 motivational coach around the world. We talk about Teoh, the author of The Millionaire Mindset. So I had this opportunity to learn from all these great people, and I started to actually mirror what they have done. And the one topic that I really want to be good at is to understand the millennials, to understand Gen Ys. Because whether you like it or not, the millennials will form the largest group of the talents that we have in our workforce. And I wanted to be really specialized in that. Now, this was in the year 2013, 2014, and a lot of people said I was pretty much ahead of my time. And I really learned a lot from my mentors. I would actually go on to Google every night to research about the latest topics that are concerned with the millennials or the Gen Y. I would actually go and interview highly successful entrepreneurs and CEOs to understand how did they actually manage to beat the game of life by becoming the best in their industry despite being one of the younger ones in the industry as well. So that was the time as well when I started positioning myself as an expert. Now, here's the dilemma faced by a lot of experts today. If you want to be perceived as an expert, you got to deliver what you preach. You got to be the best in delivering the products or services. Now, the catch is, in order for you to become an expert, you need to be ready for your ideas to be showcased to the world. You need to be ready for your ideas to be challenged. And it was during this time when I started going onto YouTube, producing my little videos like this right now, doing podcast recordings, speaking in public seminars and conferences, basically putting myself out there. Now, obviously, if you want to become an expert, you need to know your subject matter really well. You need to be able to actually answer questions. And a mentor of mine shared with me, the only way how people are going to perceive or to recognize you, I would say, to recognize you as an expert is when you're able to help them with their problems. If you're able to share with them ideas that they would appreciate. And this is the time where I did have the opportunity to speak in conferences, and I did share about ideas that would help companies understand their millennials better, that would help people understand themselves, especially young people below the age of 40, help them to understand their purpose and themselves so that they'll be able to accelerate their lives and to enhance their capabilities to achieve success or to go for that goal that I've always wanted to go for. And that has actually helped me position myself as an expert. So that's the first lesson I've learned in doing business by being focused. Now, the second lesson I've learned in being extremely focused in my business. Now, bearing in mind again, this is the time where I've actually founded Thriving Talents. I'm not sure if I managed to mention it earlier in my sharing session right now, but this is the time where I've actually co-founded Thriving Talents, and we are a talent development company. Again, very much aligned with my vision, very much aligned with my purpose of when I first started my career. It's about developing people. It's about developing organizations for them to harness the capabilities and the potential of human beings to give back to society, to become more productive in their workplace. So what happened was, during this time when I'm focused only on Thriving Talents in pushing and growing the company forward, I then learned my second lesson in being extremely focused, and that is persistency and passion pay. That's right, persistency and passion pay. I mean, you could start a business in any field, and guess what? You will be the underdog, especially during those early days. What you can do, though, is when you start out in these early days, be persistent, knock on doors, call as many people as possible, call as many companies. You know, I remember when I first started Thriving Talents, people would say that, you know, Michael Teoh is this guy with a thick face. And a thick face is someone who was shameless, who was fearless in approaching people. And I remember I would call up mentors of mine, I would call up friends of mine, and it's very embarrassing for me to say this, but I would even call up friends who I have not spoken to for like decades, for like years, and I would just introduce to them about the new business I was doing, and I would get them to try to help me, to refer people and recommend companies who would need my services. And of course, you know, life was challenging. I wouldn't say life was not easy, because that's a very self-defeating thought. Life was interesting and exciting because here I was with my girlfriend at the time, and we will be calling companies every day. We will be emailing random people in companies, really asking them for an appointment so we could meet them, so we could show them what we could do for their business. And, you know, people have always asked me today, if you follow us at thrivingtalents.com, that's the website of my company, you would notice that the clients whom we work with today are the leaders in the Fortune 500 companies category. So you're talking about, you know, great partners, great friends of ours today. They're clients first, then they became our friends. Companies like Microsoft, General Electric, Intel, Sony, AIA, Allianz, Shell. These are all great companies whom we all admire. And people have always asked me, you know, Michael, how did you actually get into the door and manage to gain the trust of these companies to work with them? Well, the secret is persistency. You know, every time I would try to arrange for a meeting, and that would take weeks to months. But in the end, when I got the meeting, I make sure that I was in my A game. And, you know, oftentimes people tend to ask me, Michael, so what is your $1 million sales script? How did you pitch yourself? Now, again, I'm going to share that with you in another sharing session coming up, because that is an episode on its own. However, I'm here to share with you that when you meet people, especially you know that those are the clients or the customers or the people you want to work with, your passion will sell you. That's right. People are influenced. People are convinced to buy from you. People are convinced to trust you because they're able to see how confident you are. They're able to see how genuine you are. And they're able to see your unrelentless passion to want to help them. And that was what I've gone through, where I was persistent, knocking on doors, calling as many companies as possible. Every time when I get a rejection, in my mind I'll be thinking, guess what? Perhaps the company's not ready. And I would just keep on making phone calls, and I would be calling up friends, asking them for referrals and connections, And you need to be very, very passionate, and you need to be convinced by your own products or services. Because if you're going to sell something, you have to be your number one fan. So that's what I did. So that's the second lesson I learned about being focused, about being persistent and being passionate, because at the end of the day, it will pay off. And how do we tie this back with being focused is that, recapping lesson 1, where you have positioned yourself as an expert. Once you have positioned yourself as an expert, you will benchmark yourself against the best in the world. And then what happens is that will actually force you to learn from the best. And that will then help you create world-class products and services which you then believe to be able to push out to your different audiences, to your different clients. And that will give you the passion. That will give you the confidence to be persistent in your pursuits to grow your business. Now, the last lesson, which is the third lesson that I want to share with you in doing business by being focused, is to get help and to share the rewards. Today, I'm proud to share that since Thriving Talents as a brand, it started in the year 2012, but we actually privatized it. We incorporated it in the year 2014, 2015, we received 2 angel investments, so that's amazing, for a training company to be backed by angel investors. We're in talks right now to explore raising more funds to grow the business. Now, one of the things I really learned from this experience was that the third lesson, to get help and share the rewards. Today, we have grown to a 10 full-time staff company. We have recorded a 300% growth since we first started with the angel investment capital being put in the year 2015. And we have been very, very proud to be in this position. But one of the things I learned is that, when I first started last time, if you Google me, if you YouTube me, you would know that the Michael Teoh brand is a brand. However, as we started to go Thriving Talents, I started to realize that it's not all about me. It's not all about just what I can do. Now it's my role to empower and to grow other people to actually develop themselves so that they too can realize the potential. And I understand that, I may be this guy who loves to talk, who loves to develop your potential for success. But there are other people who have unique strengths that when they work with me, it will amplify the good work that we do. So I'm just going to throw some names out here, all right? And you can Google about them. They're great friends of mine. One of the people I learn a lot from, of course, would be my own business partner, Miss Mallory, who happens to be my girlfriend as well. So what happened is that for Mallory, she is a ACCA graduate. She brings in the accounting and the financial background into the business. She actually helps systemize and operationalize the business. She's the one who is very, very passionate about standard operating procedures, SOP. She was recognized as a young Southeast Asian leader by the YCLE program by President Barack Obama. She was trained by McKinsey's Young Leaders Academy, a very sharp lady who I'm very proud to have as part of my team. We also have Mr. Alvin Tay, our master statistician, where he is great with numbers. He's also great with data, because as we have created Thriving Talents, we wanted the company to revolve around using data to present hard facts on how you could develop your potential and develop the potential of your millennials. And you can see Alvin's mixture into our company is that he brought us the unique capabilities, the expertise to produce data, to source research and developmental works that would further help us enhance our business. And moving forwards, we have enlisted the help of Elisha Yo, a young student, now graduate from Taylor's University right here in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur. And she's in charge of our head of content creations. And all she does is to create content. All she does is to work with our media partners to actually share with you on the spot or the in-trend content about how you could develop yourself and develop your millennials. And last but not least, We have Mr. Julian Yong, who is my head of online learning and my head of internet marketing. Again, he has actually followed a lot of gurus on internet marketing, and we thought that it will be the future for us, that is to connect with more people around the world through the internet and by producing products like this. So one of the things that I find is that I have just named 5 of my core leaders in Thriving Talents, and I still have 5 more to go, but as time goes on, I will introduce them to you. They're all great people that have impacted me and inspired me in my life. But if you look at these 5 people that I just named, all of them has actually brought different perspective. They've brought different uniqueness. They've brought different expertise into the table. And that has actually helped scale our business. That has actually helped us to become more relevant to face the changing demands of the community. And we're proud to share today that we work with the top companies around the world. I speak to thousands of people every year in different conferences, and I'm proud doing what I'm doing. So in the end, if you were to ask me, what are the 3 main lessons that I've learned in doing business? It's by being focused, and those 3 lessons are: build your brand as an expert, persistence and passion pays, and get help, share the rewards. I mean, it's always very good to be positioning yourself as the go-to guy, but always remember this: that would also present you with an opportunity for others so that they can share their expertise to help you and your business to amplify the impact that you will create for your audiences. Again, this is Michael Teoh here, the founder of Thriving Talents. I love sharing sessions like this. It allows me to actually talk to all of you, and I look forward to keeping in touch with you. Now, if you want to request for any topics that you would like my comments on, please do let me know. Please leave a comment. Please do get in touch with us at thrivingtalents.com. Check out my book at potentialmatrix.com. And I want to thank you, all of you, for your support. So this is Michael Teoh here, signing off from Thriving Talents. Take care, everybody.